The following podcast you're about to listen to is brought to you by the Push Start Media Network, where everything you do in life begins with pushing start. To another edition of the Sports Your Enthusiasm podcast. I am your humble host, Bryce Benjamin, along with my co-host, Mr. Ed Reuter, in the building. And of course, we got another special guest in the building. He's been on the show before, and glad to have him back. My guy, Josh, a.k.a. Duke Clark. Gentlemen, what's good, man? How y'all feeling?
I'm good. I'm doing good, man. How you guys doing?
And I, unlike Duke, am doing terrible tonight, Bryce. Fucking awful. I would love to just come out here and say that I'm doing great and that everything's all sunshine and roses, but it's not. It's a terrible night. I'm hating life right now. My Indians are getting embarrassed tonight by the New York Yankees.
Hey.
Bryce, what did you bring on the show today?
He is a Yankees fan.
Okay. Of course he is. Of course he is. You would do that to me today. Have a Yankee fan on the cast.
I did set you up for failure. My fault, man.
Brutal. But
hey, listen, man.
That's not what we're here for today, right?
Yeah, it's a fact. That's a fact.
That.
I appreciate that, Duke.
I did see Judge go yard on his first pitch, so I
just got done saying we're not going to talk about that anymore. Now, in fairness, I opened the door to this by bringing it up first, but I'm now closing the door. No more talk about that. I'm gonna get past it. I'm gonna get over it like a big boy. Let's move on.
Hey man, still got 2 more games. So hopefully.
What did I just say?
All right, I'm done. I'm
can't let it go.
I'm done. Let's move on. Let's talk about NFL Week 3, and I kind of want to start last night, Monday Night Football, Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This game has been pretty much hyped up since the schedules were released in the offseason as the game of the year. To the marquee quarterbacks in the NFL right now, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson battling. I mean, it did not live up to the billing on my end. I had to sit back and watch my Ravens get their ass kicked for fucking 4 quarters. And just to kind of give some thoughts on that game, man. First of all, like Pat Mahomes, the level of quarterback play from this dude is really ridiculous. Like, our defense is not bad. Like, we have a good defense, and he just played with us. Like, he did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, however he wanted. Andy Reid, the plays that he was drawing up, dude, was just ridiculous. And I'm like, how are we not making any adjustments? And then on offense, like, the Baltimore Ravens offense just looked anemic. Like, we got away from what we do best in running the ball. And Lamar Jackson was just inaccurate all game, missing receivers left and right, tight ends dropping passes. It was just a terrible performance by my Baltimore Ravens, but I'm trying to get over it. What's your guys' thoughts on that game, man?
Well, I'd go first on this one.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, now he's courteous. I appreciate that, Duke. Thank you. Well, the first thing I would say, Bryce, is I know it's got to be a downer for you having watched that game, but there's still a lot of positive takeaways from there, man. This is I spent the last few hours after the game yesterday and some time today looking at people's ratings and things, and they were dropping Baltimore damn near out of their top 10 and stuff. This is still a top team in football. The Ravens didn't go out there and beat themselves. What I saw was a few players that, I don't get to watch all the time, right? I know that you watch them more often than anyone I know, but I got to see a guy, Marlon Humphrey, look really good on a lot of plays, a lot of tight coverage. He wasn't out there blowing coverages. It was just getting beat by Mahomes, right? I mean, that's going to happen to any team. I saw a guy in Calais Campbell who I didn't realize how dominant of a force he could be in the interior. He looked really good at times, both stuff in the run and getting after Mahomes. There were so many times where, they had plugged the middle, they had the edge covered, and Mahomes just off of his back foot, a quarterback that maybe, a throw that maybe 2 quarterbacks in the league could make, he makes a play. I thought that the Ravens didn't beat themselves. They were beat by a team that just looked better on that night. But it's tough. It's the Chiefs are going to be a nightmare matchup for a lot of teams, and I don't think you have anything to hang your head about yet. I still see the Ravens winning the division. They're going to be just fine, man. So no worries there.
Yeah, I agree with that. A lot of people are knocking the Ravens to the lower half of the top 10, out of there completely. And to me, they're still a top 5 team. Matt Johnson on his post today, I put him at number 2. When Andy Reid gets in his bag like that with a quarterback as talented as Mahomes, it's unfair. I mean, I didn't get to watch the game live, but I watched it after I got home from work, and it's absolutely incredible what Reid does. And Mahomes has this great ability to take what the defense gives him or just create something completely. Mm-hmm. You see him make these throws that only he can make, but then you also see him perfectly executing dump off throws, screens, shuffle passes. And there's just nothing anyone can do with them when he's operating on that level. The Ravens defense did a good job stopping the run. Edwards-Helaire was kind of bottled up for most of the night, but the passing game was just ran rampant, and there's really nothing you can do, man. It was just, I think if these teams play again, it won't be, even though it was only a 14-point game, it seemed a lot more of a dominant showing for the Chiefs than the final score says. But I don't think it will be like that if they play again. I think Andy Reid kind of got deep in his bag of tricks, and it was something that the Ravens haven't seen yet. But like Ed said, if you watch the defense, it wasn't like they were out of sorts or out of position. It was just what happened. But that was as perfect as a performance as the Chiefs, I think, can put out there. And it was only a 14-point game. I think with some adjustments, we can easily see these teams have a classic matchup in an AFC Championship down the road.
Yeah, a message for the Baltimore Ravens offensive and defensive coordinators, it's particularly on offense. Greg Roman, and I love what he's done with our offense and what he's done with Lamar Jackson and what he's able to create with him. But, dude, if you're running the ball and they can't stop the run, don't stop running the ball. Like, stop trying to get cute. Stop trying to match wits with Andy Reid and shit like that. It seems whenever we play these teams, and watching this game was like watching the Tennessee game all over again. We're running the ball. We're having success with the run. And, okay, the first drive, we get 3 points instead of a touchdown, which we should have kept running because they couldn't stop it. And then Chiefs come down, they score a touchdown, they miss a field goal, we're down 3, and then we just completely abandoned the running game already. I'm like, what the fuck did y'all doing? Use the run to set up the pass. The Chiefs was clogging the middle of the field. And then on top of that, it didn't help that our best receiver, our best tight end, Mark Andrews, is dropping everything coming his way. So Lamar never got into a rhythm, never got comfortable, and he needs to improve as a quarterback throwing those passes outside the number, because he missed a couple of them to Hollywood down the sidelines where he got his corner beat. He got his man beat, and those were touchdowns. You got to make those throws. Simple as that. So I'm not down on it. We lost to the Chiefs. We lost to the best team in football that defended chance for a reason. But at the same time, though, I do want to see a better fight, because it just seemed like they just kind of just took the fight to us and then just took us out of it. Besides that kick return, man, I didn't really have any exciting plays for us. That shit was just kind of depressing the whole game. But nonetheless, though, I do hope that if we do happen to meet them again in the playoffs, that we can make the necessary adjustments and get better from this.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why they abandoned the run so quickly. I mean, you look, they had 20 rushing attempts and averaged an insane number on every rush. And it wasn't like it was like a classic Mahomes game where they put you behind the 8 ball and you had to pass the ball
right
until later in the game. That was a little weird to me too. I don't really have any explanation for it.
Yeah. That's Greg Roman outthinking himself, man, trying to get too cute. Simplify the game sometimes. It's really that simple. But nonetheless, man, the Chiefs, shout out to Patrick Mahomes, man. 5 touchdowns total. He was fucking awesome. Hats off to him. The dude is the best quarterback in the league. Well, between him and Russell Wilson right now. And, man, nothing but love for that man. fucking hate that dude. I fucking hate that dude so much.
He's been your guy's kryptonite specifically. I mean, that's one of the things that I was going to say moving forward. The only thing you got to hope is that for Lamar that it's not in his head now. He did talk about it in the days leading up to the game that he knew he was 0-2 against Mahomes. He called him the kryptonite afterwards. You just got to hope that that's not something that sticks with him or that's in his head, because you will see him, maybe put a little too much on those passes, maybe not himself if that's in his head,
Yeah, so. That's a big fact, man.
Let me ask you a question real quick, Bryce.
Yeah. What's up?
Are you concerned with the way Lamar Jackson throws the ball, or do you think it was a bad day for him? I mean, he did have a lot of drops as well, but
I think it was a bad day because what happens with Lamar, watching him, a lot of times what happens is if he gets out of his rhythm, if you get him out of his rhythm early, if he's not feeling confident in his throws, then that's when you start to see those balls sail and the inaccuracy and the decision making gets out of whack. But if he's comfortable, if he's like the offense is going smoothly for him, and then that's when we see the best version of Lamar. What I don't like is the body language when you're down, when like things aren't going your way. I don't need you to be pouting and hanging your head down low and, throwing little temper tantrums and shit like that. Cause that's like seeing that as a fan, watching that at home. I'm like, yo, come on, man. I can only imagine what the Chiefs sideline is thinking. Like, yo, we get into this, man. Like we get into his head right now. So he gotta work on that aspect of his game. Like things aren't always going to go the way that there's a game plan to go. And you got to be able to go ahead and adjust to that. You got to be able to adapt to that. Like that's what separates the good from the great. Like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, the motherfuckers, they come through that shit. They get through all that. But that's the next step. That's the next step in his evolution of a quarterback. But him throwing the ball and everything of that nature there, just got to work on those deep throws. You got to hit those shots when we got them. And I'll be good with that.
Oof.
All right. Moving on. Let's talk about some other games, man. Any key games that stuck out to y'all week 3?
Well, you know me. Big Bills fan.
Hey.
Had me on shit on Twitter early in the game. And then they kind of pulled the Falcons on me, and I'm just sweating. But to go back to what you're talking about with Lamar, Josh Allen kind of did the opposite, never put his head down, kept his focus, made some huge plays. Even though Aaron Donald was just wrecking that offensive line consistently every play in the second half of the fourth quarter. And a couple of times he obviously got to Allen, but a lot of quarterbacks would get sacked twice by Aaron Donald in the fourth quarter and kind of come unraveled. He still kept his composure, still used his legs to scramble, but he didn't break down and kind of go for the runs that we've seen from him in the past. That a lot of running quarterbacks, they just stop looking down the field and bail on the play and run. Specifically on that 3rd and long that he got to Beasley, and then obviously with the touchdown, which was a beautiful throw off his back foot. But I kind of come away with this game with two different fields of thought in my head, and one is the defense has done this kind of consistently this year. Less so with the Jets because their offense is just in shambles. But we let the Dolphins come back, we let the Rams come back, and it took late game heroics in both games to win. That being said, you like to see those late game heroics. You like to see that composure, and that will go a long way in the playoffs when games are a lot closer. I think the Josh Allen that we've seen in that last playoff game and the Josh Allen we're seeing now is just head and shoulders above that. But the defense. The team still goes as the defense goes. I don't know if Josh Allen can maintain this type of play. We need better play from our defense, and specifically the rush defense. Just big holes kind of being open all day for a team that doesn't have the most talented running backs.
Yeah.
But that being said, it was a huge win for Buffalo to go against a good team and sneak out a win like that.
Yeah, I think I completely concur with what Duke was saying there, in particular about the defense, just because if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that it would be the defense letting the team down while Allen is coming out there playing the way that he is, I would have called you crazy. I would have thought the strength of this team, right? The strength of this team would have been the defense, and that the Bills would be winning a lot of